Good morning. Good morning, friends. Welcome to the new Energy Creator YouTube page and Patreon page and newsletter. Oh, there's so many different streams and how you're supposed to communicate these modern days. I am social media free. Can't tell you what a what a joy that is. I figure the right people will find us. Um, the people who have found us that resonate the most with what we share. That's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's a what is thing. Come to us in the most unique ways. A word that turns into a Google search. Book popping up on Amazon. And not everybody is coming from Crimson Circle anymore. They're coming from all sorts of places. Speaking of which, we have a new video series. If you're just subscribed to the YouTube channel, we put videos up, but you have no context. So if you would like to subscribe to our newsletter, that's free, or become a member of our Patreon page, The Divine Blueprint. I'll put it in the links below. If you sign up for either of those, which doesn't cost anything, either one or both, preferably. If you sign up for those, then you get the context along with the video. For example, we're putting up right now the story of the Banyan tree and the Sovereign Collective. Miss E, Lady E, Aaliyah, and I recorded and filmed, not filmed, animated a mini movie about the Banyan tree and the Sovereign Collective, and how Ascended Master El Moria came to me and showed me what it is, and this no place, no time scenario for sovereign beings to gather. So sovereign beings, going back to where, if you're just doing the public stuff, you don't know anything about what we've got, the million things that are going on behind the scenes. Where I left you in the public satsang, we're in the Anatomy of Light series this year. Each year we have a new series. This one's the Anatomy of Light. You can only shine your light if you're a sovereign being, right? So the banyan tree is a gathering space for sovereign ungrouped beings to gather. Katumi delivered his very important message, which he's been trying to get out of me for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Moria said the same thing. In 2017, 2018, he kept warning of a gravity that was forming around a collective spiritual consciousness, where everybody has the same sort of set of belief systems. They believe they're in their last lifetime. They should just have their last lifetime enjoy. And then that ends in, if they're successful, ends in going to another place that's better than this one, called the Ascended Masters Club, or they reincarnate again. The heaven hell scenario. I know it's definitely more robust than what I'm saying. So we talked about ungrouping, and it makes me really uncomfortable because people tend to get violent. And I don't mean physically violent, although that has happened to me, with me, around me. I'm talking about the violence that is identity, sharp edges, belief systems. I can hear and feel everything. If the person next to me has a thought, I can hear it. I can see if they just have the thought and it passes through, or they attach onto it, make it part of their identity, follow it down the corridor. So there's this idea of souls on a journey. Souls on a journey. right? It sounds so peaceful and lovely, and it is. It has some really nice elements to it. I reincarnate with the same souls over and over again. It feels familiar. Um, I incarnate in the same bloodline over and over again. It's easier to create a physical form in my ancestral bloodline. I reincarnate with the same souls over and over again, hoping we get it right this time, right? That's the light side of it. And then from a human perspective. And then the other side of it is wait a second, I'm reincarnating with the same souls over and over again, expecting different results. I'm in a karmic loop with the same souls, reincarnating over and over again, expecting different results. I'll just keep incarnating with this crowd of souls. It ends the same way every time. A flood in Atlantis, hiding in a cave as the Essenes from the Romans. In the Middle East, people are reincarnate over and over again. Israeli, Palestinian, Iranian. I reincarnate over and over again, fighting whatever fight. So it's not just relegated to one spiritual faction, right? It's also your bloodline and everything else. And you don't have to give anybody the middle finger. But I hosted 2 calls. Pardon me, I'm itchy because it's so hot and humid outside. We did two ungrouping calls on our Patreon page. Just to check in. Most of the people we're working with ungrouped, disengaged from being a soul on a journey ages ago, if they did our materials. Sometimes people tell me to screw off and the materials didn't work and whatever, but they actually didn't do it. Like they didn't go from ego to we-go. We spent 18 months, a year and a half moving from ego to we-go. And then on their way out the door, they're animating and acting from the ego rather than the we-go. And your stuff sucks. Well, you didn't do it. So there's no guarantee of results because you actually have to do the work. Go back to reincarnating over and over again with the same karmic souls on the same journey, fighting whatever external force and running out of energy and looking for energy elsewhere as a group. We've all done it. I've done it. How can I talk about it? I've done it. I can tell you my story. I had a extreme experience with Maria going into a spiritual organization and finding myself back out of it, which is terrifying. And you feel very alone and you don't know who you are anymore because it was defined in some way very, very deep within you that you were a soul on a journey with a certain set of souls. So the identity gets slammed. So see Hoon. The second I literally and figuratively drove out of the organization that I spent some time in, when I made the way out, my realization, God self-realization, not soul realization. Oh, wait, I'm realized. No, like earth-shattering, ground-shaking, time and space-shattering God self-realization that took place over 3 days. That happened as soon as I ungrouped, right? And then I had to stick around a little bit to work with all of you. And then again, what I'm experiencing now is a sustained, never static, never clogged, and no resistance flow of light. It's so bright. I feel like I need sunglasses. After traveling through the darkness, the divinity is in the darkness. That's for damn sure. After traveling through the darkness, I came upon the light and here it is. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to anyone. You can't say this is mine, this is not mine, because it's beyond mine or not mine. The word my has been banned. And there's this fear that don't go back into oneness. You've had so many experiences subjectively. There's no way you're going to go back into objective oneness, right? So The shining your light comes from the subjectivity of the I am expression experience. Getting a little ahead of ourselves, but that's it's not about the ungrouping. It's about what's here. Can you not perceive it? What's here? I'm doing a new thing. Can you not perceive it? So after doing these ungrouping calls, I wrote up a little thing, and I'm gonna look at my notes because we're doing the Divine Blueprint workshop today and for the next 3 weekends. So this is like, I got to get this in, and then I start the workshop at noon, and it's about 9 a.m. So yeah. So I'm going to look at my notes. All right. So my ungrouping notes are very, very simple. You don't need a big complex to do about anything. You don't need to hem and haw and sitting around gossiping and talking to people on the phone and, oh, can't believe this happened. And it's like the commentary, right? It doesn't help you. It just spins you deeper into the web, the spider web of collective spiritual consciousness. So my notes are: ungrouping naturally occurs when the terrain, the topography, the forest floor, right? When the terrain no longer lines up with the map you've been handed. Spiritual organizations, all of them, hand you a map, right? And that map can be really, really helpful when you're in chaos. You do aspectology, then you do sexual energy virus school, and then you do threshold, and then you do this program, and then you do that program, Master's Life 27, Master's Life 36, Master's Life 100. It's the same in Scientology. It's the same in the Self-Realization Fellowship. Now you're going to do this program for 1 year, then you get to do this, then you get to do this, and here's another thing. And all of those things are really, really useful until the map no longer matches the terrain. If the map you've been handed is handy, you keep it, you hold on to it. If the map you're given no longer, you're like, wait, what I'm seeing with my human eyes is not what's in my divine vision. It's not what's on this map that's been handed to me. This map is irrelevant. So that's kind of what I got, right, from talking to you all. And it wasn't just one organization. It was multiple organizations, and it wasn't just spiritual organizations. People were ungrouping from family, ancestry, karmic, anything, right? You create karma with someone, you reincarnate again, you do it all over again. If it's one person, it's a little easier to deal with, and then it's not as sticky or gravity filled as a group dynamic, right? We talk on the Banyan tree videos, which are being slowly released. We'll talk about why the Sovereign Collective is not a group, and how it doesn't have those traditional karmic group dynamics where you put the needs of other people above yourself, where you create more karma that builds upon more karma, and you keep reincarnating into these not so nice scenarios, end of world scenarios. Here you are at the apocalypse. Are you going to exit the karmic loop, or are you going to create some more karma and then do it again at the next big change in Earth? I mean, it's up to you. There's no, I don't believe in right or wrong. Right or wrong are breezes that blow through without me pulling onto one. All right. When the map no longer matches the terrain, ungrouping naturally occurs. It naturally occurs when the terrain no longer lines up with the map you've been handed. I won't read it directly. Some of you don't like that. So many preference points. I'm really trying to adapt them all. Bowing in your honor. I get feedback and I say, let me see how I can rearrange myself to meet your needs. Happy to do it. If it, you know what, the humility is fierce here. It's like, if you want me to stand on my head and scratch my behind, and that makes you ungroup and go to the next place where you're meant to go, I'll do it. I'll do just about anything to get your attention, to open a door. That's where I'm at. Yeah. Okay. Imagine you open your eyes, awakening from a long, long slumber, only to find you are in a vast and diverse landscape, one you have never seen before. One you have never seen before. The rough, rocky terrain and the mountains that stretch out before you block your view. Look at these beautiful mountains, but I can't see over them to see the trail that lies ahead. In other words, only part of this new territory can be seen from your current vantage point. So you reach into your backpack and you pull out the map you've been handed. Here's my map from the Self-Realization Fellowship, from Scientology, it's a joke, from the Crimson Circle, from wherever. Here's my map. All right. You hold the map up, twisting and turning it, trying to get a lay of the land. There's no cell phone service. You don't have Google Maps. You have a paper map. Okay, a paper map. Yet no matter how, some of you don't even know what a paper map is. You're too young. All right. So imagine your GPS has been printed onto a piece of paper, just like in the old timey movies. I'm teasing you. I love the young people here. You guys are so refreshing. You never even did the career human life thing. You never even stepped in there. It's pretty impressive. So you hold up the map, twisting and turning it, trying to get a lay of the land. Yet no matter how much turning and analyzing and thinking that you do, the lines on the map will not line up with the terrain you now find yourself in traversing. You're off the res, you're off the reservation, you're out of the group dynamic, which tells you what you're going to do every month. And now we're doing this, and now we're going to integrate that. And now we're going to do this. And then next month we'll do this. It's a roller coaster. I was at a Crimson Circle event once, and one of my friends there said, don't get off the roller coaster too soon. You'll be standing in the parking lot of the amusement park alone. Well, I got out to the park. I got off the roller coaster. I got out to the parking lot alone, and I was alone. I was alone 2-3 years. Then all my friends showed up. And it was so much more fulfilling because it was different souls doing a different thing. Different souls doing a different thing. Not in a karmic loop of we're going to reincarnate all together, all over again, and suffer. And then we're going to reincarnate all over again and then suffer with a solution right here, dangling carrot, and then reincarnate again. Nothing more carroty than that reincarnation cycle. Just one more, just one more experience, just one more. So the map doesn't match, right? The map becomes useless map, save for tinder for the fire that will keep you warm at night. So you burn it, you burn the map, and you ask, what's next? There are no directions, no people to guide you. There's only the soil beneath your feet, the sky above your head, the water rambling downstream, and the winds of constant change blowing past your ears. To complicate matters more, the very thing you seek isn't a thing, entity, or outside object. It is the air you breathe and the ground you walk on, but still you cannot find it. The subject I, Lauren, must collapse into the object, the terrain, rendering a map leading to something you already have useless. To me, that is exactly how ungrouping unfolds naturally. One thing is not villainized or rejected. We're not villainizing anything or rejecting it. It was a great, grand experience. You sucked every last morsel of experience out of it. And then you wisdomized it. You needed that. That's how we're going to get to the third circle of creation, the subjective one, not the objective one. We get to the subjective one where you are actually divinely unique through all these experiences you had with grouping. Yeah. So thank you, grouping, wisdomization, jute, tender soil for your garden. Yay. All right. One thing is not villainized or rejected, yet instead it's simply based on the fact, neutral, that the map no longer matches the terrain. Neutral, creative, creative neutrality. That's in our new energy glossary on our website. I was spending some time in the car the other day, also known as sitting in traffic, and on the Saturday after our calls last month. And I was listening to a Michael Meade podcast called The Pathless Path. And he talks about where the path of many diverges. And then after some confusion and darkness, a new path appears, one that is yours inimitably or divinely unique to you, your own path. The path is inside of you, in the cellular and the space between the cellular makeup of this carbon-based biological form. This is how we're going to get, this is the advanced notes of why it's important for the light body. All right. So I borrowed Michael Meade's words here too. He says the map didn't match the terrain. The map doesn't match the terrain. It was like this breeze of clarity blowing through my car. Map doesn't match the terrain, right? I got to follow my own internal compass, right? Which I have developed my connection to through self-inquiry, through meditation, through breathing, through pure awareness, through allowing, through ending, right? And so with all of those tools, you create a direct experience with the path that lives inside of you and is you. Subject, object, collapse. What's it got to do with the light body? I have notes on that. So as he spoke this sentence, the map doesn't match the terrain. After being on 2 ungrouping calls with you all, I realized that truly is where the impetus to ungroup arises from. You held the map given to you by elsewhere, or told it was you, but it was created by somebody else. Or you purchased it from elsewhere. You bought a good map. It costs a lot of money. It's quality. It really worked for a while and now it doesn't. So you held the map out in front of your face for a few hours, for a few days, hell, even a few lifetimes. And no matter how you spin the map, it won't line up with the diverse terrain of your inimitable, cannot be copied, divinely unique experience. Now, there is no map. You finally realize, you finally admit to yourself, okay, there's no map. But there is this thing called Gnost. Gnost, G-N-O-S-T, knowingness, chitta, the one who knows, and or the fourth element, all words for the same thing. Instead of a map, you finally realize that you have the eyes to see through the darkness and murkiness of Maya, samsara, delusion. You have the ears to hear the silence and what it has to speak to you. And that's where we hear, myself, Katumi, Moria, and others come into play. We have no map to give you. Even if we did, we wouldn't. What we do have is the divine blueprint materials. After I'm done speaking here, I'm going to attach another video on that is a 30-minute sample of our actual divine blueprint materials. So you can tap into them, feel them. Maybe you learn something from it, maybe you don't. Maybe it's just some information to put aside for later, or maybe you want to sign up for one of our divine blueprint workshops. We just opened up some spaces in March, but I'm going to put it out for you. The divine blueprint is your own map to complete and total liberation and luminosity and the light body experience. So that is going to be added into this video at the end. Right. But so we have no map to give you. Even if we did, we wouldn't. What we do have is the divine blueprint material, so you can draw your own lines between the stars of self creating your own constellations. The stars we are given, the lines between them we draw, creating our own constellations, the constellations of the Magi, of the Magus, of the sovereign subjective one. I just love it. I just love it. All right. So what we do have is the divine blueprint material. So you can draw your own lines. What we do have here is the creative space for you to develop your divine vision, seeing through the eyes of the divine, and hearing on your own. What we do have here is food to grow that fourth leg of the chair, nos, knowingness, chitta. Fourth element, body of knowingness, causal body. What we do have here is food to grow that fourth leg of the chair back and walk into a new reality. That's what we're doing on our Patreon calls. On the last week of the month, for the end of the year, we have a chitta, nos, knowingness, causal, all of it, the fourth element. We have a call surrounding that and how it has to do with the light body. It's been really fun so far. All right, so what we do have here, I'm going to get there, is food to grow that fourth leg of the chair and walk it to a new reality. One where things do not change with a flickering thought, yet instead stay consistently and sustainably lit up with the pure light of awareness. Without fail, without fear of a power outage, since this light does not shine from power, and certainly not through ownership. There's no such thing as my light. I'm shining my light. No identity, you are not. The light is shining through you because your identity became a needle in the haystack of God. Big time distinction necessary to actually shine your light and have the juicy feeling that I carry with me as an empty vessel for the will of God. Feels really good. Sounds a little strange, feels better than anything else. It's actually new. Oh, thank God I'm not doing the same shit with the same people on a different day. You know, that's how another natural ungrouping. You're like, I'm doing the same shit with the same souls, just in a different time. All right. Further, it is not simply your personal identity who must give up the map and walk on alone. Or here, as we say, we walk alone together. The biological cells call for ungrouping too. The cells in your biology have been grouped around ancestry, around survival, around group consciousness, around varying and complex systems labeled respiratory, endocrine, muscular, lymphatic, and so on. Yet as the light of awareness shines down on you and you stay visible to this light, no hiding, the cells will pull apart and reconfigure into a new energy pattern. The New Human Species, the Anatomy of Light series. One of simplicity, innocence, sincerity, and wrapped around immortality. Death is an illusion. So-si Hoon will help you get there. And that, my friends, is what we are all doing here, alone together. No maps for an ever-changing terrain. The maps is a labyrinth that's weaving inside of you. You go to the highest P potential. And that map, and you find yourself in the space of being able to access full chitta, nos, knowingness, the causal body, the body of knowingness in your body of consciousness. And that changes the map. You get worried about your bank account. That changes the map because now you have to, the map is about getting you out of the poverty cycle again, right? So this has huge implications, not just for you being in life and joy, but for the rest of the planet and all of creation, which you care about, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So no maps for an ever-changing terrain. So only navigating the void within you. Instead of negotiating an external experience, you're navigating the labyrinth that lives and breathes and moves and changes based on the depth of your awareness and desire and passion for being light. Making light, as our friend Katumi would say. All right. So those are my notes on ungrouping. Souls on a journey is such a lovely thing. Oh, we're souls on a journey. Remember when you were like, oh, I have a soulmate. I'm going to find my soulmate. And then you realize the soulmate and the karmic ties are just about the same. There's a little bit of disappointment, right? That this group that you've been part of for lifetime after lifetime, clinging to each other in the flood, clinging to each other in the caves, hiding from the Romans, fighting the Cathars, fighting the Catholic Church, this, that, the other, over and over again. Or maybe it's a different timeline. You're in the Middle East, or you're in India, and you've been reincarnating there and doing that. I'm just speaking to my mainly Western audience. It's a bit it feels a bit defeated or sad or sensual grief to walk out of that. And you might think you're going to die from alone. And then if you just give it some time without going back in to try to rearrange and manage energy again, you just stay out and sit there and float under the banyan tree. We're releasing that 4-part series. So if you want, it's just an invitation. It's not, you have to do this. It's not going to solve your problems. You don't go to the banyan tree to solve your problems, right? It's just we create, Maury and I created it, and you created it too. We co-created a space just to be, without having an opinion about everything, without having to worry about this or that, and not take everybody else into consideration, because the people around us, we don't have to save them from anything or contribute anything or fix them or heal them or learn something from them or teach them something. We could just hang out because everybody's so self-sufficient. That allows us to just deeply, deeply relax. And in that relaxation, the cells will ungroup and you'll get to experience this full luminosity that I am bringing you here today. I've been here for about 5-6 weeks. 5-6 weeks. Will it wear off? Maybe. I don't think so, though. I think I hit it. Part of me really was like, okay, well, I hit my full luminosity. I've been working towards this. The day after my realization, I did not rest on my laurels. I was like, all right, I have my realization, but this is not the full thing. And I went full throttle at what's next, because I had tasted, touched, experienced the nectar of God consciousness, and I wanted to make it sustainable here. 7 years later, it's here. It's here. And part of me said, oh, okay, cool. Let's just retire, because the reason I was getting these materials out to you is because I wanted it for myself. And oh, I could help some people along the way. Help. And now I'm here. I'm going, I don't have anything. I don't need to find something for myself anymore. And then I realized, whoa, this deep, whoa, this, whoa, love for you all. It's like, here, I'm just, yes, I'm still here, just in a different way. Some of the interesting side effects of this is alcohol smells bad. Why would I want to do that? Oh, gross food. It's not fresh. I race home at the end of the day to meditate for 2-3 hours before I go to bed. All the stuff that people were like, oh, it's ridiculous, doesn't work. Oh, discipline, and, don't eat this, don't eat that. And everyone's like, oh, those people are idiots. And no, it's like my whole lifestyle. Because you just don't want it anymore. You just don't want it. You don't have, there's no compulsive behavior. There's no obsessive or compulsive behavior. Humans work in a compulsion, thought compulsion. I learned so much about the difference between humans and animal consciousness on my recent trip to Patagonia, Chile. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, look at me and here's a slideshow, but I don't have any social media. So I did on our website, link below, I did put some pictures up from that Patagonia trip. All right, I hope you are enjoying life. If you have a request for something to go in these videos, especially if you're a patron, Katumi and I dance for tips. We dance for tips for trying to get our this new energy creator business sustainable, which means you send a donation or you sign up to be a patron of the page, and we use that money to get more materials out in a free flowing way. So if you think we're worth $5 or $11 or more, that'd be nice too. Great. I did announce Katuma Yu and Sosi Hoon. The December one's filled up. So I announced one in February. It filled up yesterday. I'm going to add another time. And then we're doing the Divine Blueprint workshop today through the end of August. Clearly sold out, but we opened up a new one in March, and there's five spaces left in there if you'd like to do it. Yeah, so check out the Divine Blueprint materials. And if you are only a Satsang watcher, keep your eye out for the Banyan tree videos that will be posted on YouTube in a steady stream. They're also up on the website, and it just says at the top, the Banyan tree story, if you want to get a head start on that. And Ali and I are working on a lot of new materials. We got a lot of stuff coming to you. The Sarah walking stick story. We have the Rhythm of Further book coming out soon. It's an interactive ebook with tons of graphics, and it's not just me. There's chapters written by other people, and we've been working on it for almost 2 years, and $3,000 later that I put into it. So it's gonna be really good. And oh yeah, the Magi's Definitive Guide to the New Human Species, which has all the light body sessions, is now in Spanish. So we have it in English, German, and Spanish. We have new light body supplemental material, videos, experiences in the store. I worked on the website for many, many hours, days in the last couple of weeks. So go check it out, and I'll put all the links below. And I hope no matter how you show up here or what level of interest you have, I just want to thank you for being here. Your awareness, your attention is your most valuable resource, and you add so much here. And thank you. So next, a 30-minute sample of some of the Divine Blueprint materials. And the Divine Blueprint goes into the physics and biology of shining your light and the physics of reality creation. So it does get sciencey, but what you're about to see is just like the basics. What does it mean for me? What is it? It's one of our things that doesn't come, has no basis, like the only thing I can compare exploring the Divine Blueprint is the realm walking aspect facet of yourself is very, very useful in exploring your inimitable, cannot be copied, unique to you, Divine Blueprint, which is your map, no one else's. No one else has the same map as you. And so all I do is facilitate an experience for you to tap into your own map. I'm not giving you another map to replace the Crimson Circle map or the self-realization map or the Reiki map or wherever you came from. It's all over the place these days. I am not giving you a map to replace that. I'm showing you where yours is and how to interact with it. And I was taught this by Babaji, Yeshua, and Mary Magdalene. It is not a Katumi course. It's a Sarah course with a lot of help from Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, and Babaji. All right, questions, comments, you can email me. The comment section is open again on the YouTube channel. Since I don't have social media, I don't know what a lot of you are doing these days, which is, it's such a peace for me not to be on there. I just 1 hour a day on this thing is all I can really handle. because I'm having so much fun. It's so ridiculous. It sounds so dumb. It sounds so dumb. Oh, I'm a vegan who meditates. It sounds so dumb, but it's like, how did I end up here? Why do I feel so good? Who cares what it looks like or sounds like? Oh, anyhow, that what I'm trying to say is if you want to send me an email on what you're up to and send a photo, I love that. That's the really good part about the technology. It's like, oh, like Jess sent me some pictures of the birds in her backyard today, and she had an audio with the birds on the background. I love that. I love that. Right? It's just when it turns into something else, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've been meaning to ask you, do you know if my boyfriend really loves me or not? You know, stuff like that. It's like, oh, it's not that it's annoying or insulting, even though it is those things. It's deeply depressing when people switch into that crystal ball, psychic. It's like we're friends, and then it turns into, but can you help me with this thing? But I'm not going to pay you for it. But it just gets so weird, so quick, and people don't even know they're doing it half the time. And I can recognize it because guess who did that? Lauren, before she ungrouped and walked out of whatever, right? Because there's this flow of oh, there's an ant. Huh. The flow is, I think I know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to check in with this external source to see if I'm doing it right. And then you realize, oh, it doesn't match. Then you start altering yourself to match something you trust more than yourself. And then it creates a flow where you're like, I think I trust myself, but I just want to check in with Sarah. She can see the future. I can, but it's really just the seeing the future is just seeing your patterns that you can't see. So you're going to keep repeating them because you can't see them. Right. It's not like some great skill, but it's like, it's insulting because you know better. You are better. So friend stuff, but with that caveat of like, don't do it. No. Okay. Off to the Divine Blueprint Workshop. I am Sarah of Sovereign Mind. It is clear and free of sovereign mind, biological autonomy. My biology is not in a reaction mode. Everything my biology does is an expression of source consciousness, which allows me to be really, really, really fit. Holy crap. Like, I have no idea. Swimming a mile in 20 minutes. All right. Okay. Light body. It's fun. It's fun. It's available to you and everybody, all soul beings in all of creation. All right. I talked enough. I just love talking to you. And I don't know if you guys know, but I can feel you there. I can feel you there. And I feel like I'm having a direct conversation with each and every one of you. And it is just an honor and a privilege. Wow. All right. I'm going to stop now. Bye. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Divine Blueprint Materials. You're either signed up for the workshop if you're watching this, or you're on the Patreon page, or you have purchased from the future the Divine Blueprint Materials on our website, regardless of where you came from. Welcome. You'll see Juna in the back right here, my little helper. So this is video 2. Video 1 is just me talking, kind of giving an overview of what it is and how to kind of get the juices flowing, getting it started. So you have already received, hopefully I could talk, you have already received video 1, and this is video 2. It's all about you, Big YU. It is all about Big YU. You're an inimitable, inimitable, your inimitable, cannot be copied, actually divinely unique, like the snowflake story, your inimitable divine blueprint. I've been saying that word so wrong for so many years, so I'm working on it. Things we're not going to stress about. But well, when we get started here, I want to talk about what is the point of these materials. It's like, oh, that feels important. That feels juicy. That feels like I want to know more. But why? What's the point? What's the point? All right, I'm going to give you some reasons. What? We're going to talk about what is the divine blueprint? What is the point? So we can get to the how, which is the real stuff, the real stuff. So I made a list. What's the point? Right? The main point, this is what it started out for me. I really wanted to know myself fully while being in physical form. There was so much more beyond self-realization at the soul level, the basic soul level, beyond this concept of a last lifetime and ending the reincarnation cycle. And I thought, it can't just, I never think, oh, it's me, I'm special. I never think that. My immediate reaction to anything I'm exploring, expressing, experiencing, any of the E's, exploring, expressing, experiencing, the E's, the E's, the easies, the ease and grace. Anytime I think, oh my God, there's so much more, I always think I can't be the only one experiencing this or the only one who wants to experience this. So that's where the drive comes to put these materials out. Y'all, I am in the subject object collapse. I understand my divine blueprint. I know how to read it. I'm in a state of ecstasy and bliss at all times. Doesn't matter what's happening around me, not in the law of cause and effect. Why am I still here? I mean, I'm still here on earth because I want to express experience from the totality of my beingness, right? But why am I taking the time to tell you? It's not to pay my bills. You guys, oh my God. It's like when I look at the budget and the financials for this business, it makes no sense. But why am I'm in bliss. I achieved what I came to achieve. Why would I want to share with you all? Why wouldn't I just say, F it, fuck it, and just sit on my porch and drool with my dog? The joy that it's brought me, this deliciousness of it is something, it's so good. You want to tell all your friends about it, but not trying to convince or change them, right? Because it's not coming from an identity. It's coming from all the cells saying, God, 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 good God, 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 God. So that's why I'm here. No, that's why I'm here. All right. So what are we doing this for? Because to know yourself, big S self, your big S self, to know yourself fully while being in physical form. You die, you leave physical form. There are no surprises. You're not like, oh, I didn't know. I wish I had known that. Then you create another lifetime. As soon as you say that, I wish I had known that. I wish I had known I could live my life completely out of love, trust, passion, instead of fear, worry, chasing every thought down the thought corridor, so you don't have a regret, which makes you reincarnate again, by the way, but we won't go there. So number 2 on the list is to express experience. Here we talk about expression and experience as a singular thing. Express experience rather than express yourself, then experience it later. Cause, effect, karma, cause and effect, action, reaction. Express experience is a word that we've created to talk about how the I am that I am consciousness expresses it and experiences itself on earth without the subject object division. Subject being subject I am an identity with preference. and then the object of what it prefers or rejects or accepts, things we went through in the rhythm of further, which will be in book form very soon. Right. So to know yourself fully while being in physical form, beyond a last lifetime, beyond realization, beyond a soul level, even beyond an earth centered, focused, human focused reality, even because you were exploring all of creation. Our divine blueprint contains all. There's nothing at which it excludes or opposes. Number 3, to illuminate every single cell, energetic imprint or lifetime, to illuminate every single cell. There's going to be a moment, if you haven't already, where your heart, your subtle energy heart lights on fire, where it lights on fire. And if we explore through the exploration, the experience, expression of the divine blueprint, we can light up every cell in our biology, all our lifetimes. Everything is included inside of this, This is the outer shell, and everything else is inside of it. And soon enough, you'll realize that, wait, boop, boop, boop. This is not even the outer shell, but we have to talk about things a certain way. People talk all the time, I'm shining my light. Well, here we go. Here's how we do that. Everyone has a desire to shine their light. Oh, I'm shining my light. Your identity can't shine the light because it's just one single cell in a trillion-celled organism, an infinite-celled organism that is called God, which is you, right? To tell that last lifetime realized identity, dear super conscious lifetime, dear super conscious superstar lifetime, there is something so much bigger than you. And it is also you. And he goes, oh, yeah, oh, there's something bigger than me? Couldn't possibly be. I am the most conscious lifetime. No. And then he goes, oh, wait a second, but I'm missing this thing called true love and the ecstasy I am. And the only way to get there is to bow at the feet of God and say, you're so much bigger than me. And I know you're also me. Because there's nothing that God isn't. Right? You let go of being special. The identity has this idea, oh, it's so special, it's so important, right? And its preferences are so important. And its choices and decisions are so important. Its bank account's so important. All these things are so important. Right? And God only shows up and will light the flame inside of you until you realize none of that stuff's important and you're especially not important because you're just an identity cartoon character. And then you realize that what's underneath that is your true creator nature, who you truly are, and that you've been expressing and then experiencing from an identity you thought was God. And then you realize, wait a second, that was all just child's play, just moving dolls around in the dollhouse, building blocks being moved around in the playground, and God is outside of the playground, and it is the playground, but you still play, but you know that you're playing. All right. And when we explore our divine blueprint, which is all of creation, the history of everything experienced subjectively through all your lifetimes, energetic imprints, cellulars, structure, the space between the cells, the subatomic particles in your body, all of it is God, all of it is you, right? And we could just say, oh, that's great, and then we're done. But what we're going is from the conceptual idea of this God consciousness to actually experiencing it in a deeply sensual way that only can occur in the subject-object collapse. We'll do the subject-object collapse in another video. It's a really important part of this. You can't make it happen. It's already happened in glimpses for each and every one of you. Anytime you've lost yourself in the moment. But I can't get to, we're going to go, this is a radial circular way to express. So I go at one facet, another facet, another facet, another facet of these materials. And those of you who keep returning, There's a lot of you. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for help supporting us to get these materials out. Without your exchange, it wouldn't be possible. As I said, I look at the the budget and I go, oh crap. I'm gonna go outside and have some tea. But thank you for being here. And but the reason you keep coming back is because it's an endless array of entry points into the divine blueprint. So how we live, express, experience changes entirely, goes entirely new. You'll feel like you've been turned inside out. Relative reality is no longer external, but internal. You feel like you've been turned inside. Doesn't make it any less strange, by the way. You feel like you've been turned inside out, but what's happening is you're doing something you haven't done before. It's new, and it's Christos new, right? Not new as opposed to old, but Christos being energy and consciousness coming together. As you explore your divine blueprint with passion and sincerity and humility and honesty, you'll experience a total cellular turnover. So the way Katumi described this to me, and this is Sarah, I'm recording as Sarah, but everything Katumi taught me over the last 4.5 years, I'm able to use it. So I'm not channeling Katumi in this at all, but I like to use some of his examples that he left us because they're so good. So the total cellular turnover, as you're going through each lifetime, each cell in your body is a representation of an energetic imprint, what you might call lifetimes. And the cells in the body move from decaying cells, right, that cause age and eventually mortal death. The cells start to switch over to cells that don't decay. They're ever new. So that's another impact of exploring your inimitable, I think I got it, inimitable divine blueprint. So it leads to being homo luminous, which just is Latin for human being of light. Human light being, the light body. All right. So that's the what. What are we doing here? A little bit of why. And it changes how you do everything. It matters not what you do, but how you do it. All right. How? So we can get away from the what. So as you explore your divine blueprint, you're going to find some parts and pieces of yourself that haven't quite realized that they're free. They're liberated. They're part of this grand plan that is full luminosity, that is the light body, that is energy and consciousness coming together. Whether you know it or not, if a lifetime or energetic imprint has a hang up, still has desires, wants, needs that aren't being met, it creates resistance in the bio form. It creates resistance in the body, subtle energy body, the body of consciousness, right? So the goal here is to let go of complete control, right? But not just in this lifetime, all of them, to allow life to flow through you, big YU, not big YU cannot be whittled down to a definition or an identity. Lauren in 2024. That is not big YU, that's little YU. So you want to allow, you all have the passion for it, I know it, allowing life to flow through you with zero resistance. Think about that. Allowing life to flow through you, big YU, all of yous, all the little YUs with zero resistance. Allowing energy and consciousness to move through the biological form with zero resistance. To move through the mind with zero resistance. To allow full luminosity to radiate from the spine into your inner caverns, into your inner beingness with zero resistance. Imagine that. It's possible. It's happening. I know it. It's happening to me right now with zero resistance. So the resistance is truly created by the perception of free will. And the perception of free will comes from the identities. You kind of understand it happening in this lifetime. Lauren thinks she has free will. She decides she's gonna stop doing spiritual stuff and just drink margaritas and uh, go out and party. I tried that, right? Just to give an example, but free will can be a sneaky, sneaky thing. Wanting a certain outcome, fighting with your bank account, fighting with what is, anything that is, being annoyed by your husband all the time. I don't, or your kids, right? So the identities have a preference, which is really an agenda. And that creates a lot of resistance in the mind, in the body, in the soul, even. And you can't even access the causal body or the body of Nost, knowingness, because all of the energy is going to address the resistance. Exploring the divine blueprint changes how you operate and express experience on Earth, because it creates the space is an illusion, but we're going to talk a lot about space as if it were real. Once you understand and dive into space being real, right? Katumi taught me this. Then when you give everything space between the cells, space between the thoughts, space between reactions, space between you and another person to allow you enough space to realize they're not really another person. We're going to go all the way into space as if it were real and use it. Just like we can use time in our creative favor, even though it is a real illusion. Or relusion. I don't know, even though it's a relative reality, little r reality. This also, as we understand how relative reality works, we're able to make a divine ground in absolute reality, the big R reality, through contrast. Contrast is a great teacher. The more you explore relative reality, the more you can understand and recognize and witness and validate absolute reality, the real thing. Absolute reality is the kingdom that Yeshua talked about. It is the theos that Kachumi talked about. It is Shambhala, which was talked about in the Theosophical movement. I work with the same being because it's kind of repackaged, because it's in a different language, not because you're not as smart. It's just in a different language. So one of the hows is to create the space, the zoom out, big picture, drone in the sky view for consciousness, a no substance to create the space for consciousness, a no substance between the cells in the subatomic area, right? Between the cells, so we can create new energy for ourselves, our entire divine blueprint, by ourselves, from our entire divine blueprint. Knowing how, this is the how of it. Exploration, expressing and experiencing from the divine blueprint will show you how to shine your light. Not just say you're shining your light, but how to actually do it. The light has got to go inward. This is what we're doing here in the divine blueprint. We're shining the light inward into our inimitable, into our own stories, our own intersections in the divine blueprint, into our previous and future lifetimes, into our simultaneous lifetimes, into every way we express ourselves in physical form, in anywhere in creation. So the light goes into all of those, and they all become a smiling, open-hearted, blubbering mess like me. So Lauren is not just the blubbering, smiling, ecstatic being. All my lifetimes are. all the energetic imprints are. It took a lot of work. It did not happen overnight. There's the 100th monkey. There's the tipping point. You get enough lifetimes going, and then the domino effect, and then the quantum leap. We talked a lot about that on our Patreon calls last month. So the how of it is knowing how to shine your light. We're not going to get to it in this one, but how you externally shine your light, it's never really external. But once all of this gets lit up and you're in this state of constant, ever-changing new energy, it impacts the earth and all of creation significantly. And that's when you bow in your own honor at, holy crap, I can't believe what kind of impact me being here on earth has. I can't believe I ever chose suffering because I could have been doing this. What have I been doing with my life up to this point? We're not going to get there, but I can get you closer to it. I can get you closer to it. And hell, prove me wrong. I'd love to be right, but we can't get there until we do this first. Once we understand the divine blueprint and how it works, we're not operating from this local linear, a small s singular perspective of what we need to do in this lifetime. When that identity thinks the universe is revolved around it, the perception is that everything revolves around this lifetime, and everybody should be there to support this one lifetime rather than from the bigger picture. So that part of you is what Sosi Hoon, the fiery vibration of truth, destroys, incinerates, melts, turns you into lava. Your identity must become fluid form, a plasma-like substance in the divine blueprint. So that's Sosi Hoon's job. It makes you feel like you're going crazy, blah, blah. I don't know who I am. That's a different program, right? But to stay fully luminous, all of those identities will get incinerated through Sosi Hoon, the fiery vibration of truth, through clarity, through grace. Lauren, in her last lifetime, the way I put it here is we want to be able to bathe in the light, right? Without having to get out of the hot tub. Like, you get in the hot tub, it feels great at first, and then it gets too hot and you have to get back out. It's the same with the light. You see the light, oh my God, I've been traversing all the darkest, deepest passageways within myself, depth, darkness, bottom of the ocean. Realizing the ocean has no bottom. It's even deeper than you thought it was, right? And then all of a sudden you find the light and you bask in it. And at first it feels really great. And then after a while, you're like, my eyes hurt. I need some sunglasses. I need to go into human life and fuck some shit up by trying to manage it. That's a joke, but it's true. So when the fiery vibration of truth comes along and incinerates the idea of what you thought you were, so you could find out who you truly are, you won't have to get out of the hot tub. You won't have to move away from the light. You can fully shine it. The light will never belong to you. The light is not permanent. It requires you treading water to be in front of it. And you have to really understand that the light is not you, nor is it anybody else. It wouldn't be you couldn't categorize it as, oh, it's mine or it's not mine. It exists beyond all of that. We'll get more into it. So, and also deeply, like, I'm really into application and direct experience. Like, I want you to not get this and then you live your life a different way. That would be me failing at my job. I will not fail. I will not fail. Failure is not an option. I'm going to do this right. I came into this earth and I set myself up real good, and I'm going to do it right. I am not going to flake out. right? And I want you to all to show up that way too. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter what your resources are like, doesn't matter what you look like. None of those details matter. A measure of success for me, for you, would be operating from the macro rather than from the micro. The micro is you in your last lifetime, and having preferences and wanting things to turn out a certain way and managing it and following the thoughts that only belong to this lifetime, but not the other. Baby. Micro, right? Operating from the macro, the big picture. God's in charge of the symphony. Lauren is a single cell in the mind of God who is dancing like a world-class, renowned ballerina or modern dance and icon. I don't know. To the symphony of all the cells singing God, 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 God. So operating from the macro instead of the micro. We'll talk a lot about that on the calls. We'll get into some examples.